Hey guys, and welcome to another video. So I'm sure this must be a scary day for many people, but I have a smile on my face right now because I'm so happy as to what's happened. Now, at the moment, the global market cap for crypto is at 1.46 trillion. So we're down from that 2 trillion barrier that we were at. Now, I believe this is necessary what we have with the price. Now, Bitcoin has dropped astronomically, and we saw the price drop even further down to lower figures. But I believe that this is what we need right now in this market. Okay, now a lot of people are screaming, especially newer investors are screaming that, oh, this is just FUD and, news is put out to kind of dampen the crypto market, but not so much. I believe before there's life, there's some sort of death that happens. And then from that death comes new life. When you drop a seed in the ground, the seed becomes, the wheat has to fall off and die. And then when it falls off, it can create some seeds, and those seeds will produce some more, things moving forward. So if you look at Bitcoin right now, we're at 35,236. All right. And if you can see what the price action has been going forward with, we've just been having heavy shorts across almost every crypto pair. Okay. We've dropped about 37% down this week and about 19% today. And we saw the price drop even lower down to around about $28,000. Okay. Now, it's interesting to see what we have going on. I know that a lot of people are scared. And to me, this is just a new beginning. I do believe it's a death of one age in crypto and with the beginning of a new one. Okay. Now, so many people are saying to me, well, you know what? I'm not too sure I want to pull out. And a lot of people are asking me if there's any more news. There's no more news. Right now, we're in a new phase of life. Now, I know Elon Musk has had a grip over the market with Dogecoin and other memes that have been created after him, but this is a lot bigger than that. The crypto space is the new infrastructure of how society is going to run for the foreseeable future. And so there are many changes going under development at the moment. Okay, it's not so straightforward as to what we have. You know, the price is doing many things that I was expecting it to do from a very long time ago, and I wasn't actually even really comfortable with this bull run because I believe that the price needed to have this kind of disciplinary short. I think that the market was in a stage of euphoria. Many new investors with a lot of money, the retail ones, were putting money in. And I believe what we're seeing right here is a very important concept that I've been discussing, sharing, and I would love to share with you guys right now. So when we look at the price action here of what's been going on with price, we see that Bitcoin, first of all, having such a high market cap of roughly around about 43.2%, and there's a roughly around about almost 10,000 coins. If Bitcoin goes short, then everything's going to usually fall down under with it. Okay, we've had a few coins like Matic and SushiSwap who have beat this massive downtrend that we've seen recently. And I believe that this downtrend is not completely done, and I'll share why. So when it comes to Bitcoin, from the structure of what Bitcoin is now, as a store of value, as a digital asset, is fantastic. But although people are screaming FUD, we still need to kind of look at the perspective of what FUD actually means. Okay, because yes, there is some FUD going on with different aspects of the cryptocurrency space. And on the governmental level, because of what blockchain represents for people, a lot of people are in the government are very afraid of what not just Bitcoin, but crypto in general represents for people. For the first time, people have control over their own data, their own money, which is something they do not want. And so this is why we're seeing such heavy FUD from that aspect. But from an institutional level, many people have been saying to me, this bull run that we've had in 2011, oh, excuse me, not 2011, 2017, okay, and the one that we're supposed to be having in 2021 are going to be the same. We're going to have these exponential moves, which I do agree with. However, for me, I always say history doesn't repeat itself, rather it rhymes. And so, looking at what we have when it comes to this 2020 bull run, for the first time ever, we've had institutional money getting involved, or not for the first time, but we've really seen a shift of the amount of money and the level of money coming into this market. We've had a lot more institutional money, a lot more deeper pockets. Now, in 2017, and for you to understand this, you really do have to understand the topology of the cryptos market from the beginning. Now, to sum it up very quickly, usually when it comes to financial markets and things of that nature, institutions usually are the first people to have access into these kind of financial, systems. So for example, stocks, usually institutions are the first to, get stocks. Venture capitalists are always the first rounds of, having some sort of asset that's going to have value in the future that will be offered in public later on. Okay, but when it comes to crypto, especially with Bitcoin, to start off with, institutions never got their hands on this first. The people did. And because of that topology, this is the first time in history that institutions have actually been one of the last people to get involved financially with this industry compared to retail traders. So we've kind of flipped the script already. And because of that, personally, in my belief, as we've seen more institutional money come in and there's more talks of, adoption, at least to an institutional level to some degrees, I believe that this is very much so a mixture of things. Number one, governmentally, they just want to crash the entire thing and keep us centralized, which is what we don't want. But then on the institutional level, I think there's a game being played here where I believe they're simply just trying to cheapen the price for a rebuy. And I say that because institutions coming into this space, one of the last instead of one of the first, when Bitcoin was pennies and pounds or cents and dollars, okay, this is the time that they wanted to have got in. But I'm not saying that it's going to go back to dollars and cents, but I'm just saying in general, I believe that what we're seeing here, the use of fear, especially for, I'm not trying to be rude, but especially for the Dogecoiners, the kind of Generation Z who have just got into crypto through memes, okay, and put a lot of money into crypto via memes. I think for a lot of them, this will be very unsettling and very scary for them. And it's interesting to see how, different people that I'm speaking to right now are saying very different things depending on their level of experience and age also. But for me, I think this is a necessary aspect of what we need to see in terms of the change that needs to be seen for crypto to evolve into what it's supposed to be. Okay. And so, looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, the consensus model to begin with, even though I know, as I said, people are screaming front about Elon Musk, the consensus mechanism of how the network reaches consensus or agreement, for those of you who may not know, for Bitcoin is proof of work, which means it's very heavily energy dependent. Okay. And the energy that Bitcoin is actually taken to do these things is becoming exceedingly large to the point where Bitcoin is requiring more energy than some countries or the same as entire countries, which is not environmentally friendly. And that's just a fact. No matter how much we can say Elon Musk did this, he is telling the truth on that aspect. Other things, I know that, there's debatable there. But however, when it comes to Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin and other proof of work systems or networks or blockchains that have proof of work as their consensus model are kind of like, as I saw not too long ago, in a sense, the AOL in the internet age. Now, for those of you who grew up, for me, I'm 26, and I remember when I was younger, I had to choose between using the phone or connecting to the internet to play some games via AOL or something of that sort. Okay. And now things have changed a lot from then. We've had a lot of things. We've had Ethernet, then we've had fiber optic, then we had Wi-Fi, and so many different developments which were necessary. Now, if we look back in time now, AOL is highly outdated, and it's kind of crazy to even think anybody still uses a dial-up connection, to use the internet. But this is what we're seeing with Bitcoin now. Bitcoin's future is very, very questionable, and there's many things that can go right or wrong, and depends on the decision of those who are at the forefront of this network. Okay, but at the moment, this energy dependent system does have to die in order for crypto to move forward. Now, Ethereum, on the other hand, there's been, I would even say, even more institutional interest in Ethereum to the point where we have at least 8 different Ethereum ETFs that have been approved in the US and Canada and are actively trading. And I believe one brought in about 121 million in a week in terms of volume. So we're talking about serious numbers here. Now with Ethereum, because the consensus model of Ethereum 2.0, which is the next level in the vision of Vitalik Buterin, now is late because it was supposed to be around in 2019. And this is why things like Cardano, founder, was trying to, as he says, fulfill the promises that Ethereum has failed to deliver, and Polkadot very similar. So even then, with Ethereum, the fact that it wants to move towards 2.0 as a whole, as a I call it society, as a community, is very, very price positive. And this is why with Ethereum, I do see from a fundamental standpoint that there is a chance for Ethereum to have what we are looking for in terms of a long-standing cryptocurrency project that actually lays a great foundation for the world we're seeing. We're still in the early days of crypto. Now, for me, my background as a Forex trader, okay, for those of you who know some of the most simple numbers, the 24-hour volume for Forex trading is roughly about $6 trillion. All right. And we have a 24-hour volume on this market today, especially in a crash at a high point of around about 252 billion. So we're looking at orders of magnitude at least 30 times more. All right. So we haven't even reached here. Now, if cryptocurrency is actually going to not take the place, but become a replacement tool to a certain degree for how cash and money runs in our society, in our economy, then there's still a lot more money that needs to come into this market for me from the volume side. And in terms of the market cap, of course, is going to be a lot larger in the future. But I think this is healthy what is going on right now. I know this is a good rebuy, but this is not financial advice. So if it was in my mind, it's a good rebuy, but you still need to consult a financial advisor and make sure you take the decision, and the risk is down to yourself. Okay, I'm just sharing this for purely entertainment purposes only. So having a look at what we see here with the price and with Bitcoin, I think is very interesting and very important that the whole world, now Bitcoin has always been a poster sign for change. Okay, now if we scroll down here, looking at these cryptos right now, we see a lot of these cryptos have had, 30% gain. Now Matic, however, Matic has a 54% gain this week, probably one of the only tokens apart from things like SushiSwap who has managed to end off on a positive. Okay. So when we look at the price action here of most of these cryptocurrencies, they're all falling down on the weight or the gravity of Bitcoin. Okay. For the moment anyway. Again, there's almost 10,000 new cryptocurrency or cryptocurrencies in existence. And one crypto has, which is Bitcoin, has 43%. And so it still has a massive majority over the others. Okay. Now, looking at these projects and the prices of all of these projects, I do believe that there will be recovery, but I believe this is a great shakeout, even for projects that don't have any value at all. In bear markets like this, I think people start to recognize real from real. And I'm not saying this is a bear market completely, but let's just call it a pullback or a 50% retracement. I'm hoping that even projects that are absolutely useless and are just money-making schemes and are not going anywhere, the communities are, they don't care about people. I'm hoping that they get removed with this or they start to die out so that we can have, for me, I consider this a purge, if you want to call it the crypto purge. Let's call it that. I believe that's where we are right now. And I believe that we should see this set to continue. I'm hoping that the bear market will continue. We will look at some technical analysis in a moment, but today I'm just chatting with you. I just want to give some resolve and consolation for those who may have invested at the highs of the current drop from where we are right now, the highs of that drop. Okay, to let you know that it's okay. Okay, we're in this for the long run. We're trying to build a structure that will last. And there are going to be things along the way like this that will happen. Okay, but these are just early days still, guys. So, when I look at the price action and everything that we're seeing right now, I don't even feel a single thing apart from I just want to see change. I believe this isn't the end of crypto, but I believe the beginning of a new era, in how crypto is, how we see crypto, how the world will see crypto, and how the cryptocurrency technology will be established for the betterment of mankind. Okay, so again, looking at what we have back to Ethereum, for example, Ethereum's move towards proof of stake would really, really produce some really good bullish fundamentals for it. Okay, we already have the shift happening. Already some people are starting to move over. I believe you need about 32 Ethereum, I believe, to staked on there to have a part in anything to do with, delegation or either taking delegations in and becoming a node or something along those lines. Okay. This video isn't for that, and definitely will break it down in more specific ways later on. But from the outlook, what we have here, I am bullish about Ethereum despite the price. For me, I see Ethereum as a good rebuy. With Bitcoin, I'm not too sure because, again, with the Bitcoin network right now, Satoshi Nakamoto, and I really do like Charles Hodgkinson. If he ever watches this video, hey Charles, in the future, I really do like his way And I like his beliefs and how he sees the market. And one of the things I heard from him speaking in a TED talk is that he said that Bitcoin wasn't made for necessarily for profit, although you could have made profit from it. But Bitcoin was the first time we had the realization, and this was a discussion about third generation cryptos. Now, I'm going to come back to that, and I'm just going to quickly go to talking about Ethereum 2.0, and then you understand what I'm about to say in a moment. So this news here from Decrypt, and by the way, shout out to Decrypt, I really like them. Now, the Ethereum Foundation here, they're saying that Ethereum 2.0 will use 99.95% less energy, okay? Now, this is very highly important. Imagine almost 100% less energy than the current consensus mechanism that Ethereum uses in order to, come to finality on the blockchain for a transaction, which is hugely important. Okay, there are many other overarching issues that affect cryptocurrency outside of just whether the project has a good team. I think those are important things, and the vision of the project. But the sustainability is not just about how much you can scale the project, but also in terms of energy, because these things require energy. And so 99.95% less energy is a no-brainer. And so I'm sure as we see much more institutional money involved in Ethereum, I even believe it should support the price from dropping too far lower. But we'll look at it from a technical standpoint also. But as I said, as Charles Hutchinson was saying, the founder of Cardano, that Bitcoin was designed to be, to him, or to what he sees it as, which I agree with him, is that Bitcoin was designed to be the revealer of truth, or the revealer of, or kind of like entering the matrix and taking the blue pill to actually see what's going on in real life when it comes to how money works, how our society is broken. I believe that was Bitcoin's job. And so there is a danger that, as some people are saying, that Bitcoin can become an AOL and it might become defunct and not really useful in our society, even though it has one of the most useful properties, which is a store of value, which is the crux of everything that we see from 2008, So for me personally, I would say that it's important to take this into consideration when we're thinking about things like Ethereum 2.0. Now, I'll never say his name right, but Carl Beekhuizen, whatever his name is, sorry, I can't say it properly. I'm sorry, sir, if you're listening to this. We're saying 99% energy. Well, he's saying 99% less energy. And Ethereum 2.0 will see the Ethereum blockchain switch from an energy-hungry proof network to a work consensus that we can use called the proof of stake. So I'm happy to see this, and I really do hope for some good results and for it to continue. Now, there are issues. Okay, there was some testing issues, and I think 60% of nodes wasn't receiving rewards last time from the tests that they were running, but it's okay. Let there be mistakes, because the mistakes help us to grow. As humankind evolution goes on, the more mistakes we make, the more we learn and perfect, so that we can create a society that is livable for everyone and for our future children, and etc. Okay, so I'm very happy and still very heavily bullish on Ethereum, no matter what. 90% of all of the projects, whether they're layer 2 solutions or applications, whatever they are built on Ethereum. And I believe that Ethereum's community making this shift together is a very big statement of evolution. Okay, and some people have been saying Ethereum will take over Bitcoin, and at some point I couldn't see it, but really, I am starting to see the picture a bit better. Now, this is my own personal opinion. You may have your other opinions. Now, Bitcoin can be saved. And the simple reason I say that is because there's so much institutional interest within Bitcoin in terms of money from many well-known, firms, hedge funds, or crypto funds, that I think the amount of money may be an incentive, for the people who are in charge, not necessarily in charge, but the main contributors, I should say, to the Bitcoin network to really change quickly. Okay, because if they don't, I believe and I fear that Bitcoin, although it has a very beautiful structure with this 4-year cycle and etc. that it has, and the rewards being split in half, but it can become a thing where nobody wants to use it anymore. And other things like, for example, Elrond, which is funny enough called eGold, may come into play, which has a 31 million maximum supply instead of 21 million. But then you can build smart contracts on it. It has a virtual machine. You can use it with WebAssembly language. So C#, C++, and all of the language, JS, Node, all the different languages that you can build upon. And so that can intrinsically give it more value. So we're going to see by the end of this market, by the end of September, what we propose to be the bull market, what's going to happen. Now, for me, many people are saying that, 2017's bull run and 2021 bull run is going to be the same. But as I said again, guys, one of the most important things we have in the difference is that in that 2017 one, in the bull run that we had into 2018, there wasn't that much institutional involvement in terms of money. Okay. But in this bull run, in this market we have, the reason why we're seeing such differences and similarities too, because we can't say we haven't seen massive gains also, is due to the fact that institutional money is involved. And again, this is a rule of thumb. Now, my background as a trader, I've been trading for many years, okay, in Forex. When institutional money, institutional sponsorship within the market is what really drives price to where it needs to go. However, institutions always want to be the first and also by price point, the cheapest. So it's very easy. If we're shouting FUD, we need to direct it correctly to where we're going with that. And I wouldn't put it towards Elon Musk too much, but rather towards, I believe, the level higher than institutions, which is the governmental figures that create the laws to support them, and I believe that from a governmental perspective, certain countries like, let's say, China and India, who are very, toe-to-toe against crypto for their own reasons, I believe, not being disrespectful to any country, but I believe China's model of so-called democracy, and taking into consideration again that those two countries have the largest population in the world, China at 1.5 billion and India 1.4, there is an aspect where, some governmental figures who are for the people to a certain degree are worried that, if they lean over to crypto, is going to allow for many things to slip through the cracks because they have to manage so many different people. Imagine a country of 1.4 billion. I think for most of us listening, we may not even live in countries where there's even that many millions. Okay, but imagine billions of people trying to monitor data and different things of that nature. So I always try to be balanced with what I'm looking at. With China, India, they have such large countries, and if blockchain was there, there will be issues around tracking things, fraud, and etc. So there needs to be a level playing field. But at the same time, because of the structure of how central banks are and our broken cash system, okay, many of those governments will be afraid to allow things like Bitcoin and other assets that will be classed as stores of value to be allowed, because it will be a very, very high risk for their country. And I mean, even what you saw with Nigeria and Binance, where Nigeria issued a statement that nobody can own Bitcoin, and things like that. We've seen these kind of dynamics here. But from an institutional side, again, if they're looking for profit for gains to be a part of it, the best thing they can do is to play on the majority of investors at the moment who are still emotional, and to get them to sell off and cheapen the price so that they can rebuy. If you want to think about FUD, for me, I believe that many institutions actually haven't bought Bitcoin yet. That's my opinion. And possibly even Ethereum. I think they knew this was going to happen, just from human psychology primarily. And they're waiting for the price to get cheap enough so that they can buy at a stable price. So I hope this helps you to understand the picture of what we're looking at. All right. I'm not saying FUD is not FUD. All right. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and also, all the things that come along with it, with information to do with it. We can see how it goes. Now, if I switch over here, if you look at all of the news here, there's different pieces of news. All right. If you scroll through, different things have been, put out here. There's been many meme projects and different things like that. Now, okay, I don't know why I was to click on ransomware, but we weren't supposed to click on that. But let's go back. But as you can see, guys, when we look at what's going on in the pieces of information we have, for example, Indian government, most regulatory panel as crypto ban looms. All right. So all of these bans we're seeing here, of course, it's going to scare people. Of course, it's going to get people to think, well, I shouldn't get involved in crypto. If the government doesn't like it, then it shouldn't be good. I mean, there's so many different things here. So this is why I'm saying one of the most important things you want to do in this downtime, guys, is this is not a financial advice, but pick up the cryptos that you dropped that have very good fundamentals. And also, please do do some reading, spend some time studying. Don't be like the rest. I mean, Mark Cuban, who is heavily into crypto right now, one of my favorite things he's ever said is, if everybody is doing something, it's time for that. If you're and everybody's doing a business, everybody's doing the same thing, it's time to go the other way, or run the other way. He even said, I think, run the other way. So in this crypto space, I think for a very long time, because it's so young, everybody's been doing everything the same way. And I think right now, if you want to survive, it's important for you to be a contrarian. And simply being a contrarian right now, which is sad, is just to actually read before you do anything. Many people I'm coming across just buy Dogecoin. Why? Elon Musk. I mean, like, no fundamentals, no understanding of if there's any utility, just purely just off of the hype. Okay, so for me, guys, have some resolve. Don't act emotional to the price, and you will see a lot more joy in doing so. And this is how I believe, moving forward, the crypto space should be handled. All right. So don't even look at anything to do with how much the market evaluation has dropped. That doesn't matter right now. Right now, it's all about building infrastructure, projects that will last, projects like Cardano, Solana, Polkadot, things like that, which have great value for the future and for the long run, 100 years from now, 200 years from now. Okay. These are the things that you need to be thinking about, not the next 100x flip, because I mean, yes, 100x's are great. Don't get me wrong, but that's not, unless those projects are going to be a part of the structure of what we're looking for in terms of what crypto represents to the world, then there's no point of worrying about those things. A lot of people have chased after the money, and I think they've really received their payment this week for just chasing money instead of purpose. So please chase the purpose, the why, instead of the money. Okay. So we're going to look over at some technical analysis. Let's have a look at what the market is doing there. Okay, guys, so pulling up the charts, let's have a look at what we have going on here. So I'm using MetaTrader today instead of TradingView, okay, for you have a better view of what the price is doing. So for me, I've been debating with my colleagues and my coaches and interns and talking to the students about this. Now, as I'm talking here, I'm just pointing out the gaps that I'm seeing here. For me, I don't believe that the bear market is done completely, if you want to call it that, on Bitcoin. IC Markets has never been wrong about its gaps. And to me, I'm of the belief that the price may actually fill these gaps. Okay, so first range we have here between 23,561 to 25,810. To me, I'm expecting the price to actually fill these gaps right here and the price to drop lower. But how we're going to arrive there is the question. Okay, now there are more gaps. I have to go into the H4 to show you. I'll mark out the rest as I'm looking at this price section, but just using a crosshair, I'll be looking for the price to get down even to here around about 18,000. So if I put the line here, all right, just grab a line, or just before that, let's look at the price and the pull down. I'm expecting the price to do something great. So let's put the line here. Okay. So I'm going to put that here. There we go. That's 17,000. Okay. That would be the next target. But then after, it's not done. So if I go down to the H4 here, and I'm going to have to scroll back a bit here. So you can see we have some gaps down to 17,000, but there are still more. Okay. So here's the other gaps here. So bam, gap at 11,000. Okay. Pull that back here. And then there's also a gap here at 9,600, which is a very massive gap that has never been filled. And so I'm of the belief right now, going on the technical analysis, that possibly we should get these gap filled. Now, how's that going to work out? This is the question. All right. I expect the price to get down here, but let's have a look and see what we have going on. So I'm on the D1. If you look at the D1 demand order block right here, the price has cleanly broken beneath this. And so I'll be looking for a flip back up on the price. So if I just mark that out, what would that look like? The price has broken this demand zone quite clearly, and I expect it to close beneath here. If you do get a close, then what I'll be expecting, looking at the price, would be for us to have some sort of break and flip. Now, if I put this line here, I'm expecting a price around about 18 or 38,000, I should say, on the upside before a short. Now, the second that we get there, I'll be looking for a short. However, that's not the only target here. Now, if I look at these lows, let's observe. So we had some wickage down here and the price spiked these lows here. So if any orders were there, buy stop, sell stop, stop losses, that was triggered. And I'm looking for a pullback now and then a short down to here, roughly about 18 or down to 17. That's the first play. Second play, looking at this on the same D1 time frame, is we have another demand order block. Now, for those of you who should trade support and resistance, this will look like a resistance level or support level, depending on how you're looking at it, but right here. But again, speaking about this, and I've said this before, in 2019, when we were still in the bear market, 80% of the crypto market was based on bots or based on robotic trading, algorithmic trading. All right. And so the market will always create patterns to make you follow to get you into the wrong direction. So I know that there's been many liquidations and we may pull up Glassnode to have a look at this, but we've seen some very, very strong manipulations on price, you know, which I believe are algorithmic, but at the same time, many retail traders have lost a lot of money. Now, guys, don't be emotional about this market, even though there's a great opportunity for shorts and possibly a long too. You know, as I'm switching down to lower time frames here, there's a guy I know who liquidated his whole account just by doing cross margin on Binance. All right. But anyway, looking at the price here, I'm going to use the M30. We had this supply order block nested above the price, which I'm expecting the price to come to first. If the price breaks past, then we'll continue long. If not, I'll be hoping for a pullback somewhere there, right in this area. Okay. After this spike. So if I was to draw this out, here we go. So line here. And I expect the price after that to give us a short moving forward. Okay. And the price to continue down to our gaps. Now, I really want to get in, but because of the volatility, I will be wise with this. And I would say do not over risk. Okay. Because that guy, he did cross margin and he not only lost his money, but he also lost the gains he's been working hard for the entire year. Okay. So please, guys, when you're trading technically, please be wise, especially for those of you who may be doing futures trading and things like that. Don't let the leverage get to your head at all. Okay. So let's have a look at this again. So as I said, this is more of a discussion rather than trades. I'm not trying to post out any trades in that manner. We just want to look at the price action to see what's going on. So skipping back to the D1 here, I'm going to show you this area right here. So this area is what's in my sights at the moment. I believe that there's a lot of wick in here, so a lot of volume generation, probably retail, and I'm sure there's a lot of orders going over there. So I expect the price really to give us some sort of reaction here later on. Now the price has whipped back into that area, which is a good sign, but I would like the price to go for the low round about roughly about 26,600, somewhere around there in this area here. But I'm looking for the price to really give us something here for another short, and then for us to get down at least to here, 17,000. Okay. So for me, the only way I'll see a recovery is if the price, as I've drawn here, this D1 demand zone, I'm looking for the price to enter into this area and probably give us a long. But if we get down to 18, 17, I think there's going to be massive panic selling. A lot of retail traders are going to get out of the market and we're going to see. But anyway, let's look at Ethereum now. Let me find Ethereum. Here we go. Let's get Ethereum up. Now, my outlook on Ethereum is different, as you've heard what I've said just briefly on the fundamentals. Now, when you're looking at the price action, guys, please, at the moment, because of the size of money and the amount of money that's in the crypto space, we are still very, very small. Okay, and which means that a lot of projects are heavily fundamentally driven. Okay, and then after technically driven as a confirmation. Okay, so in this case now with Forex trading, if you were to ask me as a Forex trader, I would tell you to look at your technicals first and look for fundamentals for confirmation. But that's a matured market that's been there for many hundreds or 100 years at least. Now, in reverse, what we have going on in crypto is that you want to look at your fundamentals first because we're building new infrastructure into society right now. We're building new infrastructure that's going to become something that's mainstream, which is not at the moment. Okay, so this massive short we see here, the price has come for this low right here, which is a perfect sign for reversal. I don't know if it's done. You know, again, there are gaps that I'm seeing on price and some lows around about here, some equal lows, but let me just put the gap in. So here's the one gap at the beginning. And there's the second set here. So the price could even actually get down right here So around about this movement of 595. And, if that does happen, then guys, I would personally be buying because that would be a great rebuy. Now, Ethereum is based on 90% of projects. Now, let's look at the H4 to see. These 90% of projects, is a very good sign of use case. Anyway, I'll come back to it. So again, looking at this from the D1, okay. For me, I think Ethereum has the chance to give us another long. I think we've just had a very healthy pullback. I don't think Ethereum is going to crash, to say so, because fundamentally, as I said to you guys, as we're moving towards proof of stake with Ethereum instead of proof of work, well, that's a very heavy bullish sign, and institutions will want to stay in there because they know that this is the new way or the more sustainable consensus for the future. And because 90% of projects are built on Ethereum, there's going to be a lot of demand, for Ethereum, and that's just a fact. But from the technical standpoint, as I'm looking at it here, I'd like to see how the price behaves around this area. I'm not giving out any trades again. I'm just watching to see what the price is going to do. Really, I'm going to be using my technicals with Ethereum primarily just to rebuy some. I'm not looking to trade Ethereum, to be honest. There's other ones that are better to trade. But just looking at this, I believe that the price action for Ethereum, as we're seeing it, we could see some great movements moving forward, and we could see Ethereum actually get to 10K as the consensus is, and even more. I do think it has the potential to be a store of value, even though you can actually have more Ethereum. But looking at this anyway from the drop now, if the price sustains here and we get a pullback long, I expect the price to go at least for back up to the all-time high, and that's quite a few pips for a drop. To me, I consider this a 50% drop. If there is more dropping and happening, we may be surprised, who knows, and we get another crash. I'm looking for this 579, 595, and possibly even lower here because there is another tiny gap at 491. If that does get filled, guys, just know that I'll be buying. I'm excited to see what this market has to offer, to be honest. And with Ethereum, there isn't much I can say in terms of trade. I'm not really looking again for trades, but just discussing Ethereum from the price action, I just think we've just had a very good discount price. And I don't think I wouldn't feel robbed if I bought Ethereum now and it dropped down to 500. I'll just buy more because I think it's got great potential for the future, from a fundamental perspective. So if I can give you any word of advice for new investors, especially if you came in through memes or you just came into crypto just to, find out about it, look at the fundamentals, the intrinsic benefits, the long-term use case of the projects, rather than just if it's going to give you 100x or 10x. Okay. I don't even disrespect the industry, if you want to say it that way. Now, I'm not trying to be hard. I'm just being honest that don't disrespect yourself in the industry by putting your money into a coin that's just going to give you a good flip. Okay. But anyway, looking up here, this stop punt we had was the last reversal signature before the price dropped. And this is the institutional level that I'm looking at. And the second one down here. And then the third one over here. So these three institutional levels is what I'm looking at. And I'm looking for price action activity around them. And you can see over here, guys, if I draw this out, the equal lows that were here have been run. So for those of you who trade double bottom patterns, all right, you should know by now that the double bottom pattern is just a liquidity pool for your stop losses to be run. And I want to see how the price behaves around these areas. And there's another set down there, but coming back up here, I would like to see what the price does. So let's look on the H1 and even on the M15. So you can see the perfect reaction right here. If I go back to the H4 for a moment, you can see the activity that the price has done around this area. And just skipping through the charts really quickly, I'm expecting to see some sort of pullback, hopefully to 3,100 before another short. That would be fantastic. Going to the H4. All right, we can see what the price has done even more clearly here. And I would like to see how the price behaves moving forward. We are in an interesting space again with Ethereum because we're in a place where coins may possibly break away from Bitcoin's heavy gravity on the price. It could possibly happen. There has to be a lot more for that to actually happen, but we could see things change drastically. At the moment, I believe the market cap for Ethereum is around about 400 and well, It was 422 million, something like that. I don't know roughly around about now, but I know that right now Bitcoin is roughly around about half of it. So is in the for the first time in a very long time, Bitcoin is back in the billions instead of the trillions. So it's intriguing to see what we have. Anyway, on the H1, I'm expecting the price to pull back here. Now, this is H1 demand zone. Let me draw this out. So here we go. This H1 demand zone to me is a very strong area of the price breaking beneath for demand. And I'm looking for the reoptimization for supply. So if I was looking for an entry, I would actually say, if I put this line here, now the lines over here, we didn't have validation of this low with a retouch. So I'm expecting the price to retouch back up here. Bam. And then from here, I'm looking for a short. Now, for those of you who are traders that might want to grab this, let me know your results from this. You can tell me if this worked out for you. But I'll be watching around this area at 3,100. And then the next set of shorts, if this is what the market would like to do continuing forward. Okay. So we look on the M15. All right. And down to the M5 even. Or will we look down on the M5? All right. But even anyway, on the M15, we can see the price action we can going along here. And I expect the price to continue to recover. All right. There is a nice supply zone on the 15-minute right there, where we have the price at 3181.89. And I expect the price to give us some good action moving forward. All right. Now I did promise that, I would always share. And I think even on the M5 here, you can see a bit more cleanly. If you're looking for a 5-minute entry, I think this 131.81 level is good. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Okay. This was more of a chat. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not bashing Elon Musk. Whether he did whatever he did, that's fine. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is my view on the price, and I'll catch you in the next video. And take care.